My name is Brett Baugh.
Frank Pitcher.
Don Peterson.
Frank Harmon.
Susan Brown.
James Bugnesi.
There's always a group of guys that hang out and have coffee every morning, and I just went up to them and I asked if I could take their portrait, and they all said yes, but that was only 4. So I kind of scoured the area, and I found different guys and women, men and women. I posted it on Facebook, and I just met 18 people that volunteered to do it. And so I just took them to different locations and did everything in black and white. And they shared their stories, and then it dawned on me that maybe their stories are what's important.
When I got to Vietnam, I was already a sharpshooter, and I was holding a Savage-made rifle from the Rock Island Arsenal that personally made my rifle for me. And when I got to Vietnam, I had to scope it in and sight it in on everything, and then I got my assignment to the 173rd in the Oshawa Valley, and they kept me busy.
Basically, I got there in October of '67, and I came home in March of '68. So I got to see the Tet Offensive go rolling through. So that was enough for me, and I was not going to ship over for another 4 years.
I enjoyed the time in the Navy. I didn't enjoy the first 6 months. I was on a small ship and getting seasick all the time. But when I got onto the LST that I really enjoyed, which is a flat bottom ship, that was much different service. And while we were in Korea, we encountered 33-foot swells in the ocean, and we broke 3 seams and had to return to the States. A little bit earlier than we had anticipated.
I was 17 when I joined. I started in the reserves, and then I was 18 when I went active duty, and shortly after arriving to Hawaii, like my first duty station, I got deployed relatively quickly, about a year after being there. I had my first son and left him at 4 months old, so when I came back, he didn't know who I was, and it was very depressing. Yeah, it was very depressing. It was a lot to handle, because he didn't want anything to do with me, really. And now we have like the best relationship. My daughter and I have always had a good relationship, but her memory of it is mom getting on a bus and never coming home.
I served in the United States Air Force from 1972 to 1985. Last station at Hanscom Air Force Base. My most cherished moment was being stationed at Sunnyvale Air Force Station, California, working jointly with Ames Research, doing data recovery for interspace satellites, working on NASA GPS, and the launch of Space Shuttle Columbia.
There are 2 World War II guys. Joe Landry, who lives in Shirley, he was at Battle of the Bulge, and then Vernon Clark, who he was in World War II. He fought in the all-black infantry in the Philippines for the entire duration of World War II, and he unfortunately passed away in December at 93, 94 years old, but I spent 4 hours with him and listening to his stories, and it was just, I will never forget Vernon Clark for just who he, what he did. And if you look in his portrait, he's missing his index finger, And I said, Vernon, what happened to your finger? And he said, well, a Japanese soldier decided he needed it more than I did, and he shot it off. And I said, they didn't send you home? He goes, oh no. No. They just bandaged it up and put me back on the front and told me to use my middle finger to pull the trigger.
Well, I hope it brings more people aware of what the veterans actually did.
Well, basically, I'm glad to see him do something like that, and it kind of gives impetus to, the school kids as well as, they have the freedoms that they have because of people like this.
I think that it's pretty awesome that somebody who lives in town wanted to do something to honor vets. This started off in Bolton. It was at the Bolton Library for the whole month of November. So it was pretty cool to be on display.
I did go to when we had it over in Boxborough, and I looked at the pictures there. I know a couple of them, not to be that friendly with, but I've known who they are. And once you're a veteran, you're friendly with other veterans.
Something that should be shared to almost anybody. Very touching, very moving, as most of the other bios of all the veterans.
I just wanted to bring to light these 16. It's just a small factor if you think about all the millions of people who fought and lost their life or didn't lose their life and fought the demons when they got home, and it's just a tragic thing. I contacted the Gary Sinise Foundation, and they allowed me to collect money on behalf of them, and the money we raise for this show will go to build smart homes for veterans that have lost limbs, so they have autonomous houses and showers and things to make their lives easier when they're, if they're wheelchair bound, or realize why we have what we have. A lot of sacrifice went in to bring us to 2020, and I think people just need to recognize it and pay honor to these guys, men and women. So.